What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I am a little bit croaky from casting the One Piece European Championship Finals. It was a lot of fun, but while I was there, they went and revealed Vegapunk, which we kind of knew was going to be a vanilla leader. And the reason we knew it was going to be a vanilla leader was because all of the leaders in OP-07, they're all vanilla leaders. We know this, so the idea that we would have one random dual colour leader when all the others were mono, that would have been weird, frankly. That would have been weird. And this is a leader we need to talk about pretty much immediately because it's really, really, really good. And one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to look at this card and you're going to go, hang on a second, 2 life? Really? This is a ridiculously good leader that you're telling me could be broken. You've written on the thumbnail that it might be broken, and yet you're telling me it's got 2 life, and the answer is yes, absolutely. Because looking at this and seeing that it has 2 life does not tell the story, not even a little bit. You see, what we've got here is a skill. Well, first of all, this leader cannot attack. So you can't attack, and you've got 2 life, and again, I am telling you that this leader is not only good, that I'm telling you this leader is ridiculous, this leader is borderline broken, this leader could be a genuine, legitimate problem. Because the skill here is absolutely absurd. Activate main once per turn, pay 1, place up to 1 5 cost or lower egghead type card from your hand face up on top of your life or into play. And this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because you see, you have 2 life. That is true. That is real. The fact that you have 2 life legit wasn't lying to you. But you're not actually going to have 2 life for very long at all here. That 2 life is going to run out very, 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 very quickly because it's a 1 cost skill. So you can either play a 5 cost for 1 from turn 1, or you can start just piling up your life turn after turn after turn after turn. And look, yeah, sure, it only applies to 5 cost or lower egghead type cards. So make a deck with 5 cost or lower egghead type cards. We've got a couple I'm going to show you in this video. There's one we've already seen. There's another one I'm going to show you here. This is a ridiculous leader because it's a 1 cost skill and it doesn't say this cannot be used on your first turn of the game. This doesn't have any other downside other than this leader cannot attack. I am fine giving up my leader attack, and honestly, having 2 life, nobody really cares about having 2 life here because the reality of the situation is that 2 life can turn into 3, 4, 5, 6 life pretty quickly. It's kind of like the anti-Enel. Enel starts at 4 life, and when you get lower, you keep building it up and building it up and building it up. Here, you start really low, but you start building it up from the beginning of the game. Enel has to wait until your opponent takes your last life. Vegapunk can just keep doing this, and keep doing this, and keep doing this, except you don't just build up your life, you also play cards for free. So turn 1, going first, when you have a single Don, you can use this skill to play a 5 cost card. Now admittedly there is a trade-off to be made here, right? Because if you play a 5 cost card, you're not using your skill to put the life down. There is going to be a real skill here when you're playing Vegapunk, which is essentially when do you go for extra life and when do you go for cheekily played character. That is going to be a big decision you have to go for when you're playing Vegapunk. But I'm telling you right now, it's basically, do you want this delicious chocolate cake or do you instead want this delicious chocolate cake? Because both of those are so gosh darn good, and the reality is this has to have 2 life. And this has to have some other downside that you cannot attack, because otherwise this leader would be legitimately too good and would honestly be a little bit of a problem. Now, as an example, we saw Lilith the other day. And it's kind of interesting, of course, because these characters like Egghead and Lilith, they're from the current manga arc, and there may well be more that we see that haven't been seen in the anime yet. So the Egghead character I showed you the other day was Lilith, a free cost character that does actually have a trigger that says if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. Incidentally, that's how we knew Vegapunk was coming as a leader. This had pretty much, well, it hadn't pretty much, it had entirely given it away. But on play, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a type Egghead other than Lilith, put it into your hand, put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. It's your generic Egghead searcher. And one of the points I made to you the other day was that this is too expensive to be a vanilla Egghead searcher. Because the vanilla searchers, you got like Nami that's a 1 cost. Or very occasionally you got stuff like Branu, which is a 2 cost. You generally do not see free cost generic searchers. They're a little bit too expensive. And honestly, by the time you get to the stage where you can play them, you kind of pass the point of needing them. These are best on turn 1. This is where these cards excel. Well, now I can play this for free as a trigger, which is phenomenal. Or I can actually play it as a 1 cost using Egghead skill on my first turn of the game. And now this card makes sense. And this is something I tell you guys quite a lot. When we're looking at these new cards, you always need to remember we don't have the full set list until we do, I suppose. And what that means is when we're looking at these new cards, we always need to keep in mind there could be things that we don't know yet. There could be things about these cards that change everything that we just haven't come across yet. And the fact that this can be played as a 1 cost, turn 1, going first as long as you've got Vegapunk as your leader, and you can't really play Lilith unless Vegapunk's your leader. Because it searches for Egghead cards, and it plays a free off a trigger if your leader is Vegapunk. It only works with this leader. And it is phenomenal, and now that we've seen the leader, it makes so much more sense. But we've also got a new Luffy, that is of course an Egghead card, and we've also got the alternate art. The alternate art, incidentally, is just the booster pack artwork with a lovely background. But now we got both these Luffy, and it is, of course, Egghead Island Luffy. It is an Egghead type card. It works beautifully with Vegapunk. You can search it out with Lilith. You can play it for free with Vegapunk. Not a coincidence, incidentally, because, of course, Vegapunk is a 1 cost, and then it lets you play a 5 cost or lower for free. Oh, look, Luffy just happens to be a 5 cost. How about that? As a side note, the current leading contender to be the manga rare in the set, although that is of course not confirmed. We've only just seen the manga rare from EB-01. It's going to be a little while before we see the manga rare from this set. But what Luffy does is a couple of things. Firstly, we have a trigger that lets you KO one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters. That's clearly very, very good. And secondly, we've got Activate Main, trash this character. If your life is 2 or less, KO up to one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters, and then draw a card. And I love this. One thing to bear in mind, I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. This is a 5 cost Egghead card. Alright? What that means is it can be played for 1 cost, turn 1, going first by Vegapunk. So this can be legitimately attacking on your second turn of the game as a 6k. That is awesome. It's also got a phenomenal trigger that lets you KO a 4 cost, which is also clearly awesome. But one of the things I love about Luffy is you sit there and you're a 6k attacker. That's good. We like having a 6k attacker on the board. But here's the real trick. When you really need to take out a 4 cost character or lower, just trash Luffy and take out the 4 cost. And you even get to draw a card as a handy little bonus. Not that you really needed that as a bonus, but it's always nice to have it as a handy little bonus. I think this Luffy is spectacular. I think the trigger is brilliant. And with this and Lilith, it really looks like these Vegapunk decks are going to be full of really good triggers, which is awesome. I think the fact that it's a 6k that you can cheat into play super early in the game is brilliant. And I think the fact that you can sit there and then your opponent plays a 4 cost and you've got no other way to get rid of it, so Luffy comes and blows it up and draws a card, I think is brilliant. I think this is a stunning card, and I think Vegapunk is great. We know Enel is a top leader. It did brilliantly this weekend. By this weekend, I mean at the European Championships. And we know that Charlotte Katakuri is a brilliant leader. also did very, very well this weekend. Vegapunk, I honestly think might be better. And look, there is a huge downside here. The downside is 2 life. So those first couple turns of the game where you essentially let your opponent take the first couple life so you get a card advantage, yeah, no, you're not having that. You're not doing that at all. You cannot have that. And if you have a slightly slow start and your opponent just goes off, you can lose games with Vegapunk very, very, very quickly. I am not by any stretch of the imagination saying that this is unbeatable or without downsides. But I absolutely am saying it is phenomenal. You know, think of somebody like Charlotte Cracker. Don X1, if you've got less life than your opponent, you get double attack and plus 1,000 power. Well, if you start with 2 life, that is going to be on board super quickly. There are upsides sometimes to having so little life, but do remember in a buddy battle you start with -2 life. That could be a bit of a problem. Vegapunk is going to be good, I'm certain, but I'm also croaky, and I've told you what you need to know about this card, so now it's over to you guys. Do you think Vegapunk is broken? Do you think it could be a problem? Or do you think it just looks okay? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.